Feels more paranoid than safe around law enforcement. On a regular basis, we're all surrounded by them and tend to feel more nervous than we should. We each have encountered a situation where a police officer has either abused their power or their rights in some kind of way. The criminal justice system, we feel, should be held accountable or somewhat punished for whatever actions that they take. Today we will touch on police brutality, disparity within minorities and arrest rates, and unfair sentencing, and then we will refute on why police we will refute on what is fair and not unfair. Now on to expert analysis on police brutality, Nico Fela.
How you guys doing today? First off, I will explain some brief things about police brutality. Well, right in our own hometown in Chicagoland, there was a lady who was unjustly...
I love to see why Chicago is home of the blues, but when the...
Okay, well, she was unjustly assaulted in a holding cell for apparently no reason. We just want to show you a quick video and we can explain why someone would do this. As you see, he knows what he's doing, and at the same time, he sees her hurt, but as other police officers are around, then he goes to ask for help. Like, why are you acting like you care that much if you know you did it in the first place? You knew you were doing wrong. Okay, but according to the book, the definition of police brutality is an excessive use of force dealing with U.S. citizens, or citizens of period. We mostly think of brutality happening in big cities across the United States, even though it seems that way because it's more exposure. You know, it's big time, it's more people, but reality in the towns we don't hear about, maybe like little towns like Utah and stuff like that, they actually have more brutal cases. All around the country, we deal with this stuff from city police to state police, detectives. City police have the most cases called on them for the brutality. According to policebrutality.statistics.com in 2014, almost 50% of police feel that the only way a criminal can receive a punishment was to punish the individual, him or herself. And according to the same website, 84% of police surveyed that they have witnessed another officer use more force necessary to make an arrest. Brutality has been increasing over the years, and this isn't gender or a racial bias matter. All people suffer from this. I think that a lot of people get blinded by what's happening in Ferguson right now, but actually 4 days ago, a Caucasian teenager was walking with, supposed to be had earphones in his ears, and they have it on video where the police was walking around him. Well, they had got a call that someone around the area had a weapon, but they can't just come and assume anything, but they came and the male just walked away, and the cops behind them keep saying, like, pull your hands out your pockets, pull your hands out your pockets. But obviously the kid can't hear him. So the kid, not knowing, turns around and he pulls his hands out of his pockets real fast, and the police shoots him right in his back. He had no weapon on him at all, and this was in Utah about 4 days ago. In addition, according to Matt Agaris in the Free Thought Project in 2013, he states that brutality in this country is frightening. He said in the last decade alone, the number of people murdered by police reached 5,000. And that beats the number of people murdered, number of soldiers murdered since the inception of the Iraq War, which was 4,489. In 1994, the government passed a law allowing the Pentagon to donate basically military-type weapons and enforce military tactics into police training into the police force. 20 years since to today, these weapons and tactics that are supposed to be used in war battlefield are being put in our American streets and against our citizens. This militarization of the police force has created an epidemic of police brutality countrywide. Now I'm passing it over to my fellow expert, Tulsa, who will discuss racial disparities in the criminal justice system.
How's everyone doing? I will speak on the racial disparities that have to do with the arrests and basically anything that has to do with the system and how minorities are treated in comparison to whites. Racial disparities from a general standpoint are something that have been going on for centuries. Racial disparity refers to a difference that may or may not include, or that might be related to discrimination. According to the NAACP in 2014, the number of people incarcerated in America has quadrupled from roughly 500,000 to 2.3 million in 2008, or no, since 1980. Of these 2.3 million, African Americans constitute nearly 1 million of the 2.3 million total people incarcerated, which is roughly 44%. Another outlook of this statistic shows that African Americans are incarcerated nearly 6 times that of white people. If this trend were to continue, 1 in every 3 blacks born today would expect to live some sort of portion of their lives in jail. With that said, we can attempt to pinpoint reasons for these problems. In the book No Equal Justice, David Cole notes how the jury of a court system is the heart of the criminal justice system, dealing with the innocence and guilt of every suspect. Now, the basis of jury selection has been predominantly white since the formation of the system. It wasn't until 1860 that a black person first even took trial as a member of the jury. Cole says the long history of excluding blacks from juries is one of the more important reasons why blacks as a class are more skeptical than whites about the fairness of the criminal justice system. Due to this, African Americans become less likely to want to accept the invitation or take action in becoming part of the jury. Basically, this leads to more all-white juries. The chance of furthering court decisions based off race. So I ask you, how can you be positive there's equality from jurors for all people being tried when we know that distinctions of race, gender, and class significantly affect how people view the world? Along with disparities faced by minorities, there's unfair sentencing of people is also a major problem faced within the criminal justice system. So I pass it along to my expert, Anthony.
Regardless of race, anybody can face injustice in a courtroom. The goals of the justice system is to enforce the law, ensure public safety, prevent and control crime, and seek punishment for those guilty of unlawful behavior. Yet, the exact opposite is happening when someone can kill an innocent child and walk away with no type of punishment. According to Adam Hayes from CNN.com, July 2011, the jury found Casey Anthony not guilty of first-degree murder for killing her 2-year-old daughter in 2008. According to Larry Buchanan from New York Times, August 2014, Darren Wilson was not indicted for killing an innocent, unarmed 18-year-old Michael Brown. Yet, according to Weinrich from New York Daily News, November 2014, a 90-year-old Florida man was arrested for feeding the homeless, not once, but twice. Marijuana-related arrests in 2012 occurred every 42 seconds. In that same year, 1 U.S. resident was arrested every 2 seconds. People get arrested and thrown in jail for the dumbest reasons nowadays, and it is mind-blowing that someone can take an innocent child's life and walk away freely. Where do they draw the line? I know if I got caught doing something wrong and received no type of punishment, I would most likely do it again. These verdicts are extremely unacceptable. A crime is a crime regardless of race, age, sex, or class. The courtroom needs to be about what's right and fair because every human deserves justice. Here is a cartoon. It's an exaggeration of how easy people get out of jail or out of sentencing or court. Now I'll pass it over to Orion, who will take over to talk about how not all cops are corrupt.
Alright, so this picture alone should say a lot. It is actually an African American man being pushed by a Caucasian police officer. And according to WRIC.com, on February 11th of this year, this police officer himself, he receives a call about an old man outside, kind of struggling. This old man, was coming from a doctor's appointment, and on his way home, his wheelchair, it seemed to have broke down and locked on him. So he was outside for several hours. Nobody could help him out. Nobody wanted to go the extra mile to really push him to where he needed to go or really see what was wrong with the wheelchair. So the officer Clark receives a call, and as soon as he receives a call, he shows up to the old African American man, and once he first came up to him, he thought he was in trouble. And that goes back to stating that, most African Americans may be scared when the officer instantly comes up to them right away, but this officer's intentions were just to help the old man see what was wrong with his wheelchair. And after that, they try to figure out what's wrong with it, and eventually the officer figures out that the wheel was just locked, and then once he unlocks it, He pushes the man several blocks to the bus stop and waits for him to get on the bus. The old man thought that he was going to end up being outside freezing to death. Officer follows him home, ends up driving, or no, he pushes him to his house. And then after that, he pretty much just goes over that during his job, while him being a police officer, he joined the police force to help and to protect and to serve. And basically, during this whole presentation and everything, we just wanted to show that not all cops are out here, and they're not all out here to get us. But at the same time, there's a vast majority of them out here that are not here to protect and serve and do what they're really rightfully supposed to do.
So, our criminal justice system has its problem. That's going to be seen throughout from the information presented by our panel. We're all citizens of the United States, and we're supposed to feel like we have that sort of protection given to us by the police or the criminal justice system in general, whether it's fair, unfair. Every day people are mistreated for unjust reasons by the law enforcement. This can be seen through various police brutality moments, various racial disparities between minorities and in comparison to white people, and unfair jail sentences compared to people that got off the hook when they shouldn't. So the next time any of you are in need of protection of law enforcement, just ask yourself, do you really trust the people that are supposed to protect you?